Welcome back to Reddit Audio Tales, the home of shocking betrayals, heartbreaking confessions, and stories that stay with you. Today's story is about a wife whose emotional numbness led her down a dark path until her husband caught her mocking him by secretly recording everything in their bedroom. Buckle up, this one's intense. My name is Kira, and I'm 31. If I sound nervous, it's because I am. I don't know why I'm even sharing this, but I guess I just need to get it off my chest. My husband Jordan is 33. We've been married for 6 years, and on paper, everything looks perfect. Big house, luxury cars, vacations twice a year, all that Instagram perfect stuff. But behind the scenes, it's different. Honestly, I didn't even realize how different until things got to this point. Here's how it all started. I met Jordan back in college. He was quiet, reserved, and super smart. The type of guy everyone said would go far in life, and they were right. He landed a high-paying job straight out of college and quickly climbed the ladder. Stability, security, comfort, everything I thought I wanted. We got married, moved into this huge house his parents helped us buy, though only his name is on the deed, thanks to them, and I quit my job to focus on myself. At first, it felt like a dream. No more rushing to work, no more dealing with bosses or deadlines. I had all the free time in the world, but that's also when I started to feel stuck. It's weird how something that sounds like a dream can turn into a slow, quiet nightmare. Every day felt the same. House chores, yoga classes, pointless book club meetings with women I had nothing in common with. Everyone was so fake. All smiles on the outside, but gossiping the moment you turned your back. Jordan, bless his heart, didn't get it. He thought date nights and surprise flowers would be enough, and for a while, I let myself believe that too. But slowly, I realized I wasn't happy. I wasn't unhappy either. I was just numb. The same schedule, same conversations, same everything. You ever feel like you're on autopilot? That was me. Then one day, everything changed. I was at the grocery store. I know, cliché, right? I'm usually an Instacart girl, but that day I decided to go in person. Maybe I just wanted to feel normal for once. I'm walking through the aisles when I hear this guy behind me say, "Need a hand with that." I glance up and there he is, tall, fit, and confident. His name was Zane. I laughed it off, told him I was fine, but he grabbed the box of pasta off the top shelf for me anyway. We started talking. Not like those awkward grocery store small talk convos. This was different. He was smooth, funny, made me feel seen. We talked as we walked through the store, and when we got to the checkout, he asked if I had Instagram. I froze for a second, then I told him, I don't really use social media. He smirked and said, "That's rare these days," and pulled out his phone. Well, can I get your number then? I should have said no. I should have said, I'm married. But I didn't. Instead, I smiled, put my number in his phone, and left feeling like a teenager with a crush. I didn't even know why I did it. Maybe it was boredom, maybe it was something else. The text started that night. At first it was innocent. Hey, hope you got home safe. Then it was, what are you up to? Then, you should have let me buy your groceries. I'd smile at my phone like an idiot, heart racing. Jordan would be right next to me watching TV, none the wiser. I knew it was wrong, but I justified it. We're just talking. That's what I told myself. Talking turned into flirting. Flirting turned into sneaking out to run errands just so I could see him. It wasn't anything physical, at least not at first. We'd meet up for coffee, sit in his car, and just talk. But I felt alive. For the first time in forever, I felt like me again, not Jordan's wife. Zane had this way of making me laugh until I forgot all about the big, hollow house I called home. Then one afternoon, I crossed the line. Jordan had just left for work, so I told Zane to come over. I'd never done anything like that before. I was shaking the whole time, but the thrill was addicting. We sat on the couch just talking at first, but then he kissed me and I didn't stop him. That kiss, it was like flipping a switch. Everything I'd been holding back came out all at once. It wasn't just about Zane. It was about all the things I felt I'd been missing. Excitement, passion, something new. Before I knew it, we were in the bedroom. My bedroom. Our bedroom. And yeah, I know how bad that sounds, but in that moment I didn't care. I felt free. Alive. like I'd finally escaped the cycle I'd been stuck in for years. After he left, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. My heart was racing, but it wasn't just from what we did. It was guilt. I told myself I'd end it, that it was a one-time thing. But you know how that goes. The more I told myself to stop, the more I craved it. The rush, the danger, all of it. Zane and I kept seeing each other. Quietly.
Carefully.
I thought I was being smart, deleting texts, making sure the house was spotless before Jordan got home, keeping everything normal. But here's the thing about people who think they're slick. They're usually not. One night, I was in bed with Jordan. He was on his phone, scrolling through something, and I was half asleep. Out of nowhere, he says, "Do you ever feel like people are hiding something from you?" My heart stopped. Does he know I played it cool, half laughing? Like what? He shrugged. I don't know. Just feels like people think I'm too nice to notice things. He glanced at me for a second too long. I looked away, pretending to scroll through my phone, acting unbothered. But my heart was pounding. After that, things got tense. I'd catch him watching me, like he was searching for something. At first, I thought I was just being paranoid. But then it got worse. If I left my phone on the counter, I'd catch him glancing at it. He started asking weird questions like, "You been out much today?"
Stuff he never used to ask.
I should have known something was up. One night, Zane and I were lying in that bed, talking like usual. We started joking about Jordan. Not in a mean way, well, maybe a little. Zane said something like, "Dude's so clueless, he probably thinks you're at yoga right now." I laughed harder than I should have. Then I added, "He's too soft to even suspect anything." We joked like that for a while, just dumb stuff. I didn't think anything of it. Until 2 days later. I got home that evening, and Jordan was already there. Sitting on the couch. No TV on. Just sitting.
Staring at me.
"Hey," I said, dropping my bag by the door. "You're home early." He didn't say anything at first, just looked at me. Then slowly, he reached down, pulled something out from under a pillow, and placed it on the coffee table. A recorder. My stomach flipped. "You know what this is?" he asked, his voice dead calm.
Too calm.
I stood there, frozen. My mind was scrambling, but I couldn't move. "Jordan, I don't know what you're—" He hit play. "He's too soft to even suspect anything." My voice, crystal clear. Followed by Zane's voice, laughing. My heart stopped. I felt the air leave my lungs. I opened my mouth to explain, but nothing came out.
He didn't yell.
Didn't scream. Just looked at me like he didn't know me. And I guess, in that moment, he didn't. "I'm done," he said quietly, standing up. "Pack your stuff." I stood there, frozen.
Shocked.
But deep down, I knew I deserved it. He walked past me, grabbed his keys, and left. I sat on the floor for what felt like hours. I don't even know how long. But one thing I knew for sure. Everything I thought I had, it was gone. That evening, things felt off. Timothy was quieter than usual. I could tell he was upset, but I didn't want to press him. He never liked to talk about his emotions, and when he was irritated, he preferred to keep it bottled up. I should have known better, but I just let it slide. After all, the real problem in our house wasn't his mood. It was the secret I was keeping. The next morning, when Timothy left for work, I went straight to Eric's. We had planned a lazy day, just hanging out, watching movies, and catching up. It was like we were in our own little bubble. And for a few hours, I completely forgot about the mess I was making of my life. But as I was making us lunch, I saw something strange on the floor. Something that didn't belong. It was a small black device, barely noticeable in the corner of the room. It wasn't until I picked it up and saw the blinking light that my heart sank. I knew immediately what it was. A recorder. Timothy had installed a hidden recorder in our bedroom. The reality of it hit me like a punch to the gut. I didn't even have time to process it properly before the door opened. It was Eric, looking at me with his usual easy smile. But I couldn't smile back. I was frozen, staring at the recorder in my hand. "What's wrong?" Eric asked, his voice suddenly tense. I couldn't speak. My thoughts were racing, but the only thing I could hear in my head was Timothy's voice in my head. Angry. Maybe even betrayed. I couldn't imagine how long it had been there or how much he'd heard. I felt sick to my stomach. Eric looked at the recorder, and then back at me. Do you think he knows? I shook my head, but I couldn't be sure.
How could I?
How could I ever really know if Timothy had suspected something, or worse, if he knew everything all along? I have to go, I muttered, my heart pounding in my chest. I need to figure out what to do. I didn't wait for Eric to say anything else. I grabbed my things and rushed out of his place, my mind in a haze of panic. I barely even noticed the drive home. When I walked in, Timothy was already there, sitting at the kitchen table, looking like he was waiting for something. Waiting for me. I tried to act normal, but everything felt different. The tension in the air was suffocating, and I couldn't even bring myself to look him in the eye. Lisa. Timothy's voice cut through the silence.
We need to talk.
I swallowed hard, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. I knew this was it. The moment everything would unravel. He looked at me, and for the first time, there was no warmth in his eyes, just cold, hard realization. I heard everything. The words hit me like a slap in the face. My entire body went numb.
What?
What do you mean? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his bag and pulled out the recorder. He didn't need to say anything more. The evidence was right there. I felt exposed, caught in my own lie. And for the first time, I realized how badly I had screwed up. Not just with him, but with myself. I wanted to explain. I wanted to tell him everything. The emptiness, the boredom, the excitement I had felt with Eric. But I couldn't. There was no justification for what I had done. No excuse. You know, Timothy said, his voice low but steady, I thought I could trust you. I thought we had something real. But you've been lying to me for months, and you don't even have the decency to own up to it. The anger in his voice was palpable. But there was something else, too.
Pain. Hurt.
I wanted to say something, apologize. But what could I possibly say that would make any of this better? I stood there, frozen, as Timothy got up and walked out of the room, leaving me alone with the mess I had made. I had no idea what would happen next. How could I? This was all a mess of my own making. But one thing was clear. The secrets were out. And there was no going back from this. I don't know how this will end. Maybe we'll work it out. Maybe we won't. But in that moment, I understood the price of my choices. And I knew that nothing would ever be the same again. I sat there in the deafening silence, the weight of my actions crashing down on me. The recorder sat on the table like a silent reminder of everything I had lost. I had broken his trust, shattered what we had built, and I couldn't even bring myself to face him when he came back. I heard the door slam, and a moment later, the sound of Timothy's footsteps, retreating from the house. He hadn't said anything else. No more words, just the finality of his departure. It was like the air in the room had shifted, leaving me with a cold emptiness I couldn't fill. I stared at the recorder for what felt like hours, but I couldn't bring myself to pick it up again. My mind was a blur of guilt and regret, and all I could think about was how I had let everything get out of control. After a while, I found myself at the door, unable to sit still any longer. I needed to talk to him. I needed to fix this, or at least try to. Maybe there was still a chance to salvage what was left. Maybe we could talk through it if he would even listen. I grabbed my coat and hurried out of the house, barely registering the cold night air hitting my face as I stepped into the car. I wasn't sure where I was going, but my feet were leading me toward one place, the bar. It was the one place Timothy and I had often gone to when we wanted to escape from the world, a quiet place where we could just relax and forget about everything for a while. It seemed like the only place I could go where he might be, where we might have a shot at talking, even if it was just one last time. When I arrived, I walked in slowly, scanning the dimly lit room. There he was, sitting at the far end of the bar, nursing a drink. His face was unreadable, but his posture told me everything I needed to know. He was trying to hold himself together, but I could tell it was hard. I hesitated at the door, unsure of what to say. But I couldn't just leave things like this. I couldn't let him walk away without a fight. So I took a deep breath and walked over to him. He looked up when I approached, his expression cold and distant. For a moment, I thought he might just ignore me or tell me to leave. But instead, he just stared at me, his eyes narrowing, as if weighing whether it was even worth the trouble. "I don't know what to say, Lisa." He finally spoke, his voice rough.
"You've already said enough."
I swallowed hard, feeling the sting of his words, but I couldn't let them stop me. "Timothy, I know I've messed up. I know I've betrayed your trust, and I can't take it back.
But I need you to understand something.
It wasn't just about Eric. It wasn't just about getting attention or feeling something." He cut me off with a sharp gesture.
Don't.
"Just don't. I've heard it all before." His voice was colder now, like a wall had gone up between us. "You think I'm supposed to just forgive you? Because you feel bad? Or because you regret what you did?" I shook my head, fighting back tears. "No, I don't expect that. I just want you to know that I didn't mean to hurt you. I've been lost, Timothy, and I messed up. I get it if you can't forgive me. But I need to try. Please let me try to fix this." There was a long silence between us. I couldn't read him anymore. The Timothy I once knew, the man who used to smile at me across the table, who used to hold my hand, was gone. What I was looking at now was a stranger, a man who had been betrayed by the one person he thought he could trust. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can look at you the same way again, Lisa." Those words hit harder than anything else he'd said. They were the final nail in the coffin. But somehow, I couldn't walk away yet. "I understand," I replied, my voice thick with emotion. "I don't expect you to, not right now. But I'm here, Timothy, whenever you're ready. I'm not going anywhere." For a moment, I thought he might say something more, but instead, he just looked away. His fingers tightened around his drink, and he took a slow sip. I stood there, feeling the space between us widening, but I couldn't leave without giving him a chance. Without giving myself a chance. Even if it was just a slim one. "I'll leave you alone now," I said, my heart heavy. "But I mean it, Timothy. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." I turned and walked away, each step heavier than the last. My thoughts were scattered, my heart broken. But I knew deep down that nothing would ever be the same again. When I got back to the car, I stared at the windshield, trying to fight back the tears. Everything I had done, everything I had thrown away, was staring me in the face, and I didn't know what was left to fix. All I could do now was wait. Wait for him to come to me, if he ever would, and wonder if there was any hope of rebuilding what I had destroyed. But as I sat in that car, feeling the sting of regret wash over me, I couldn't shake the thought that maybe it was already too late. I sat in the car, hands gripping the steering wheel, the cold air seeping in through the cracks of the windows, just as the weight of what I had done pressed down on me like a lead blanket. The engine was still running, but all I could hear was the deafening silence that had settled around me. Every thought I had was clouded by one painful realization. I had lost him. I had lost Timothy. I stared at the streetlights blurring past, each one a reminder of the countless nights we had driven together, laughing, talking about everything and nothing. I couldn't even remember the last time I had felt like that, like I belonged, like I was enough. The tears came suddenly. I didn't try to stop them. There was no point in pretending anymore. I had tried to fix it, tried to explain myself, but nothing had worked. The man I loved was slipping away, and all I could do was watch as he walked out of my life. But what stung the most was the look on his face when he turned away from me in that bar. It was something I had never seen before, a mix of hurt, disappointment, and utter resignation. I had done that. I had made him believe that he wasn't enough for me, that our love wasn't real, and now there was nothing left but the remnants of what could have been. I knew he wasn't coming back. The thought struck me like a slap. I wasn't just losing him now, I had lost him the moment I let that other man into my life, into our space. It didn't matter how much I tried to convince myself that it was a mistake. It didn't matter how much I cried. He was done, and I was left here, holding the pieces of a life that I had destroyed. I wiped my eyes, trying to calm myself down, but the reality was too raw. I turned the car around, not knowing where I was going, just driving for the sake of moving. I didn't want to go home. I couldn't face it. I couldn't face the empty house, the bed that had once felt like our sanctuary. The thought of crawling back into that cold, lonely place felt unbearable. But then, as if on cue, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Timothy. My heart stopped for a moment before I opened it. "I need some time, Lisa. I don't know if I'll ever come back. But I'm done." That was it. No more explanation. No more hope. I pulled over to the side of the road, staring at the screen. The words blurred as the tears came again, harder this time. I had done everything I could to fix it. I had apologized, explained, begged. But in the end, none of it mattered. I had crossed a line I couldn't uncross. I sat there, numb, my phone still clutched in my hand, trying to process the finality of it all. The silence felt louder than ever, pressing in on me. I had lost him, not because of one mistake, but because I had let a pattern of bad choices ruin something beautiful. And now there was no fixing it. With a shaky breath, I typed a reply. "I understand.
I'm sorry.
I love you." But I knew it didn't matter. The words felt empty now, like they'd never reach him. I deleted the message without sending it. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt truly alone. And I realized as I sat there in the darkness that it was too late for apologies, too late for second chances. The love I had taken for granted was gone, and all I could do now was live with the consequences of my actions. I drove back home, the cold emptiness of the house waiting for me, knowing that everything had changed. I had crossed the line, and now there was no going back. The world outside was still turning, still moving forward, but in that moment, it felt like time had stopped, like I was stuck in a loop of regret, waiting for something, anything that could make it all right again. But there was nothing. I parked the car and sat there for a moment, staring at the house, knowing I'd never feel the same walking through that door again. The love I had once taken for granted, the connection we had built, was gone. And nothing, not even my own tears, could bring it back.